As I mentioned, South Africans are feeling hopeless and angry. That's the reaction to the 32.9% unemployment rate announced by Statistics South Africa on Tuesday.
Like small businesses, like a going out of business, even like the company like handling. I just got informed to like some of the biggest confectionery in Pretoria, BLM is closing down, and I'm guessing it's because of the effects of load shedding.
It's very difficult because how you do when you're going to get your next meal from. You see, if you don't have a source of income, unemployed, it's very difficult, especially for us, because we have lots of.
It gives me the feeling of hopelessness because at some point I'm looking at it as my degree will be equivalent to a matric. I won't be able to get employment anyway.
They do make me numb. I feel very hopeless. I am actually a final year student, and I ask myself when I graduate next year, will I ever get a job?
Honestly, disappointed but not surprised. And I think it's mainly because this is not a problem that can simply be solved by any ruling party. It's a systematic problem. The society that we live in, the country that we have structured since 1994, is designed for this to happen.
You know, I've always wondered how South Africa could sort of find a way to solve the unemployment in South Africa. And now, I can't say a lot about offering solutions and strategies as to how we can do this, because even I don't have experience in this sort of, can I say, workplace experience, bro. I've literally only worked for 3 months in my whole life. You know, the first week was terrible. 3 months later, I'm thinking of becoming a boilermaker. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot tricky, but I can only speak from my experience and from what I've experienced as a, should I say, well, if I work for 6 months, I was going to be semi-skilled, okay? So, I can't say a lot, but I think it boils down to a fairness. I mean, if I think about the way I got my, say, first job, right, it's because my uncle knew somebody who was, I don't want to say Nduna at his workplace, but he was hella, bro, this guy he could work with pipes, he was a boilermaker, deal with forklifts, he would work with chutes, beams, everything, you know what I'm saying? This guy would literally knock off at 2 a.m., 6 o'clock he's back, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it boils down to a passion or the charisma or something that he has about his job, right? But I can tell you right now that he's hella good at that job, you know what I'm saying? So, I think it boils down to that. But I think not that I found my job via nepotism, right? I don't think it was nepotism, hold on. It was more of me knowing someone who could get me in the position, I think. That's basically what happened, right? Now, some of you may argue that, okay, the world has always been unfair. So you've always had to know somebody, you know. And we see this in business, we see this in YouTube. Yeah, life isn't fair. Life is not fair everywhere. Life isn't fair. YouTube isn't fair. Everything isn't fair. Okay, I get it. Now, I could come here and some of you may look at it and think, okay, and this is my initial thought. I thought, you know what, maybe the South African youth could find creative ways to sort of challenge or to combat this issue, you know what I'm talking about. Whether or not it's an issue is totally up to your speculation and to your own understanding, but I feel like it boils down to that, right? And instead of finding creative ways to commit crimes, which is a big one, some of you might argue that, okay, that is the route we should be taking, but like, you know, everything, inequality and all these things, I mean, that's not the case, I guess. It's no longer an excuse, I guess. But like I said, I think it boils down to fairness. If life was fair, no. In fact, no. I think it boils down to fairness. If every single youth could get a fair chance, then I feel like the country could get close to combating unemployment in a better way. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. Fair in the sense that, bro, we've heard of people, I've heard of situations, personally, I've heard of situations where the company or whatever would talk to like their trusted employees, asking them for recommendations or to bring people they know. You know, I feel like if companies, I don't know, maybe there's an importance to that, you know, filtering out dead weight. But I feel like if companies actually like posted job openings, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if companies actually hosted like youth employment programs and stuff like that, trainings and shit to get people into the workspace, I feel like it would be better, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into how universities, because we have university graduates who are unemployed, which is scary because it's not like me, you know, who's just got a matric certificate, right? Has no skills, who's only worked for 3 months in his life and only can run fast for miles, versus umuntu who's got a whole degree, right? It's not the same thing, but it's scary to find out. It's scary to sort of accept or to find out, Guti, or to even think about the fact that you could go to university and then at the end of the day, you're not going to get what you was promised by your parents. A good life, a better life, to get them out of that, oh shit. So I feel like if things could be a bit fair, what I'm saying, if companies could be a bit fair, I don't know, bro, that's just me thinking. Sometimes, I don't know how many jobs I've applied for. I don't know how many times I dropped my CV at places in this whole 2 years. I don't know, and I didn't get any single call, not even a single call, not even one. I remember I went to Spar, a local Spar, I'm not gonna call the name. I went to the Spar and I actually saw the manager, the store manager, bro. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call you, right? And he didn't. And I went again. It's funny because I also know somebody. Well, when you go to, when you're connected with people, so let's say church, when you connect with people via church and the people via there, and the person is in a high position there, you think that, okay, they understand that you're unemployed and that you can't get into uni and that would help you out, right? Because they have a high position there and they know the inside. Nah, it's not the case. Turns out life isn't fair. You know what I'm saying? So it's those type of stuff, bro. It's those type of stuff that I'm like thinking about. So I get there a few weeks later, they're no longer hiring. And there's new people, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I feel like if these job places and markets could be fair, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we could solve at least 5% or maybe 10% of what we're facing right now in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? At least 10%. That's just me thinking. Tight.